All right, welcome back to another Koenji-san Reviews. And this video is a compilation of a bunch of horror manga flip-throughs I've done either for Instagram, here on YouTube, or for our Discord group, which is also Koenji-san Reviews. But let's get started with some Mochizuki Minetaro and Zashiki Onna, or the woman of the room. Zashiki kind of means like room, tatami room, waiting room, meeting room, but here we'll just say room. Actually, we should just say Zashiki woman. That's a bit easier. If you know Mochizuki Minetaro, it's likely because of Dragonhead. This is his famous series from 1995. It was 10 volumes. I have all 10 volumes and have read them all. I don't think I ever did a video about it though. Probably, well, let me explain why. So this is basically a psychological thriller set in an apocalyptic scenario with maybe some horror elements. You can think there's a few horror elements in here. Starts off with some kids on a school trip. Then the bullet train, or Shinkansen, that they're riding in crashes in the middle of a tunnel. And the few survivors that are there are trapped. The first 2 volumes are great. Very intense stuff. We have one boy survivor here. And then later, a second survivor. The story really is about this feeling of fear. There's our second survivor. And then they come across our third survivor, who is a girl. Gotta be honest, first 2 volumes were very intense and very entertaining. And then after that, kind of takes a turn and the story gets a bit muddled. So I can't say that I recommend reading the whole series, but the first 2 volumes are excellent. Another one that I have is Zutosaki no Hanashi. This is kind of a bunch of one-offs. I think there's 9 one-shots in here, including this one, NBA All-Star 2001, My Perspective. A few things I know about Michael Jordan. Anyways, let's look at some of the color before we move on to our main topic, Zashiki Onna, because these color pages are pretty good. And the name of this story is Color. Bully at school. The weakling gets socked in the face. Then it goes surreal as heck from here. This is a jinmen, or a human, animal with a human's face. Not to be confused with Inu Ningen, which is the dog person, more like a wolf man. There's some really wild panels in here though. One of my favorites, this biker gang. It's pretty sick. Very surreal, very psychedelic. My favorite is the emergence of the giant child. Shintaro Kago vibes, right? Wild stuff. Anyways, there's a bunch of stories in here. I think I read most of them, but some high school stories, some the weird Michael Jordan story. I read up to here. Dun, dun, dun. Anyways, let's get into Zashiki Onna, Mochizuki Minetaro. Of course, that's not his real name, because whose name would be Minotaro? This character is basically a cross between kind of a female stalker, Fatal Attraction style, if you get that reference, and the Kuchisake Onna Densetsu from 1978 to 1979, that urban legend of the woman with the mouth that spreads all the way up to her ears. She maybe a plastic surgery disaster, maybe a car accident, depends on the story. She can run as fast as the wind. She kills children. She carries around a creepy doll. And there's some kind of pieces of that story that Mochizuki took and applied to this stalker story. This is our protagonist, and he's a college student. I'm not going to give away the full story in case it gets this is from 1993. 1993, ran from 93 to 96. And we have this university student. Maybe we check out this color page at the beginning. And a woman's knocking on the door next door incessantly. And he can't sleep. She's really creepy and tall. Huge, in fact. And then she starts knocking on his door. He gets entwined with her by letting her in to use the phone, and then it goes on from there. At one point, she gets his house key and makes a copy of it, which is utterly frightening. This is his love interest. And her face is just a little bit off. Everything about her proportions is a little bit off. He comes home to find that someone has been in his room, that she had been in his room and left a weird note, some creepy pictures. And here we see her running like the wind. So there's that Kuchisake Onna Densetsu take. Plus the proportions and the size of her is quite similar. I actually did a whole story based on Inuki Kaneko's different versions of the Kuchisake Onna Densetsu, and some other references as well. I did that one a while ago, but it's definitely here on my YouTube page, so take a look at that. She is aggressive. Tariya! Okay, let's move ahead. I don't want to give away the whole story, but some creepy panels. She stalks his love interest. Hiroshi is his name, as it says here. I had forgotten momentarily. Ugh. What did she spray on her? It's gross. Random liquids. And she is a psycho. Does some wild stuff. And let me skip ahead a little bit more here. Eventually, he's hospitalized after escaping her, only to find her in the hospital stalking him. Utterly terrifying story. Try to track it down if you can. Who knows? It might be out there in English or whatever your native language is. Zashiki Onna, maybe under Zashiki Woman. And then we see yet another potential victim. So from here, what I'll do is I'll just let all these flip throughs play out. Thanks to everyone who subs, likes, and shares. You guys are awesome. Some of these coming up, I have commentated over. Some of them I didn't commentate over. They're just straight flip throughs, but I hope you enjoy them. And matane. It is October, so here's a little Junji Ito. This is Kyofu Manga Collection, or the Horror World of Junji Ito. This is book 13, Sakas ga kita, The Circus Came, and I'm not sure if this is quite as popular as some of his other releases from around this period. This is 1998. If we look in the back here, we can see book 1, of course, is the famous Tomie. Book 2 is Tomie Part 2. If we go down here to book 5, there we have Soichi no Tanoshii Nikki, or the fun diary of Soichi. You know Soichi, nails in the mouth, candles on the head, the Tokimawari character. Also, we have book 6 here is Soichi no Noroi no Nikki, or the diary, Soichi's Diary of Curses. So those are some of the more famous ones. But this one, I think, is a little bit less famous. The circus story, the first story in here, is pretty fun. The circus came, or the circus comes to town. Of course, it's not going to be a regular circus. We got the little sister and the brother running off to see the circus after school. They spot the big top through the tori, the gates there. That's pretty cool. And this is Papyrus Daisakus, or Papil's Big Circus. Grand Circus, I'd probably say. And there's the man himself. But like I said, it's no ordinary circus. Here we have inept clowns falling off of their balance balls and eating the S. We have this girl. She is the tightrope walker, who is actually a gifted circus performer. She is also beautiful, and boys are so attracted to her that they can't resist her. So you can see that this boy also, all boys, are just mesmerized by her. These boys go up there and they are not trained circus performers. So, of course, they fall to their deaths. People can't believe it in the audience, but they're still watching because, come on, let's be honest. When you were a kid and you went to the circus, you wanted that bear to eat that dude, lion to attack the lion tamer, clown to fall on his face. When they fall down, it's the funnest part. The girls peeking in. Here we get ready for some knife throwers. Also, somewhat better, but he actually does a pretty good job there. There, he just misses by a mile, hits the pole. And then misses again. The ringmaster tells him to beat it. He's like, give me one more chance. So he's going to lay on his back and throw them at himself, which also ends horribly. People are clapping though. Fire breather. Lit a flame. Doesn't he look a little bit old for that girl anyways though? You can burn your head off, freak. Lion tamer. You can imagine. She's saying, stop, stop. You too, Mario. Don't get on the swing. And the ropes break. She's driven to tears. There's one clown dude left, but remember that knife from earlier? It falls into his neck. 3 guys died by knife to neck. But the boys are still enamored. He says, so, did you like it? And then the little girl runs home and says that Big Brother and the boys join the circus. So that is volume 13 of the Junji Ito Kyofu manga collection. Eko Eko Azarak is the 19-volume occult classic from 1975, written by none other than Koga Shinichi. It follows Kuroi Misa, a junior high school student who uses her black magic to enact revenge on her tormentors, cast out demons, and lift curses. In this story, she was being bullied at her new school, so she busts out her wild occult dance, uses it to turn into a dog, biting the neck of her tormentor, of course, a fellow junior high school student. And when the junior high school student tries to fight back with her ice pick, Misa takes it from her and stabs her in the throat. She then departs with the classic, Eko Eko Azarak, Eko Eko Zameraku. Lots of child death and black magic. This is Present, Volume 1, by the queen of Japanese horror manga herself, Inuki Kaneko. And this was released in 1993 through Horror Comics. Of course, she is one of the top horror mangaka in Japanese history. And I actually did a long video about her and the Kuchisake Onna Densetsu, which is on my YouTube. There's a link in the bio there. But one of my favorite stories from her, basically, this character here is our kind of crypt keeper, narrator, introduces the story and gets everything fired up for us. So we have present number 5 here. Whoever receives a present ends up being cursed by the present. So it's kind of a, thing about you really getting what you want in a horrible way. This girl's parents are always out. She's got all these stuffed animals because her parents always buy her one when they go out. And then they leave her home alone. So all she has for friends or family are these stuffed animals. Then she comes in and offers her a present, which is this bunny rabbit stuffed animal. Then she flies out the window like Peter Pan. A very evil Peter Pan. It is morning, but her parents are still sleeping because they've been out partying all night. They ignore her, tell her to beat it. That's the maid there. The maid pulls her by the hair and throws her back in her room. And she's kind of losing her mind, so she starts tearing apart her dollies. Then at night again, her parents are going out in the town. And she decides that they are not. She grabs these giant scissors, stabs her father to death. Her mother tries to run away or tries to hide in the closet, but it is full of stuffed animals. And she is murdered by the daughter. And then the daughter disembowels them. And stuffs them with stuffing so that they will never leave her again. Owari. That is Story 5 from Present Volume 1. I know that's out there available in English, so track it down. Every day, manga-wise at least, is kind of Halloween for me, but I should be getting into the Halloween spirit, so I'll go through some horror stuff for the rest of this month. This is Umezu Kazuo. This is Sankoku no Ichiya, or The Cruel Night, from his Shiri's Kowai Hon number 9, released by Sun Comics in 1985. This I picked up for $6 or 600 yen at a local used bookstore, and it's a first edition press. The best story in here is the cover story, The Cruel Night, we'll call it. This is not officially translated into English, but who knows, maybe there's some stuff floating around out there on the inner tubes. There's 6 stories in here, and the first one opens a rainy night at a hospital. Whoa, this guy's psycho. And a baby is born. The parents are very happy and proud. Then a strange man enters the room with a prophecy. He's carrying a box with a hole in it. And basically he goes down the list of horrible people throughout history. Hitler, Al Capone, the killers of JFK. It's kind of all random, to be honest. And says, this child is going to grow up to be a psychopath. He says, if you don't believe me, look into this box and you will see your future. They say, we see nothing, and throw it and break his box. And then they kick him out the room. Beat it, weirdo. And then the kid's growing up. The kid turns out to be very bright, very smart little kid. Except the father walks up one day to find him doing something. Tearing apart a frog. How cute. Not the frog. The father ignores it, but then one day the boy comes home and he drops a cat paw in the hallway. So the father investigates and finds a dissected cat. Lots of pet murder, as I was saying before in my Hamashinji video. Japanese horror has a lot of animal cruelty and pet murder. Works his way up to dogs. But eventually, animals won't even come around him. They could just sense the cruelty in him. So he takes to teasing his friends. And then in university, his name is Hideo. Hideo-san, why are you grabbing me? You know I have a boyfriend. He pulls a classmate aside and attacks her and pulls out her hair. Then he disappears. He leaves school. He never returns to his home again. The police cannot find him. There's a railway bombing. There's multiple murders over the years, mysterious murders over the years. And nobody can find Hideo. And then one day, the parents always knew that it was him, though. He shows up at the house, maimed and disfigured as an adult. He has cut his own face because he's on the run from the law so that he cannot be recognized. They try to kick him out, and he's not having it, you know. It's like he slaps his mom up. The dad gets a knife. Die, Hideo. And Hideo, as a strong psychopath, stabs his father in the neck. Mother tries to run for help. Nope, not having that. Then everything goes dark as the man recalls the mysterious visitor at the hospital. And then we flash back to them looking in the box. They saw their future after all. The father says the baby hasn't even been alive for 10 minutes. And the man quietly walks over and murders the baby. The baby is dead. And that is the night, the cruel night that will never be forgotten for their whole lives. This is Ijima Ichiro's I Married a Gorilla, Gorilla to Kekkon. And the first story, all the stories are really wild. The first story is pretty wild. She almost gets bit by a spider, so she burns it with a lighter. Then another spider goes down her shirt. This one she doesn't catch, but he catches her boobies. Then she doesn't show up for work for a week, so he goes by her house to check on her. She's lost a lot of weight because, well, he doesn't notice until he checks his fingers. Spiders are piling out of her.